You look back on the campaign and you look at the notes that have come forwards. What do you take away from that?
First, let me say that I'm really excited about this weekend, and I have a lot of confidence. This is going to be a great homecoming for Liberals coming together after an election campaign. And I'm confident and excited. It's going to be a dynamic weekend. And yes, we released our postmortem of the election campaign, and I'm completely accountable. I participated in the 9 regional meetings, the 4 commission meetings, and the provincial council meeting. So I listened, I learned, and I want people to feel heard. We absolutely heard what they said, and it's incorporated in the report, and we are already implementing the recommendations. I mean, much of them we already knew ourselves, and now that we have the capacity and the resources to do so, like help build up the unheld ridings and enhance our comms, our communications department, we have already done so, and we're working on our policy convention in the year to come.
What's been the main takeaway for you personally from that?
You know, I want to say how constructive the report has been. It was very positive, but showed us the flaws. And I'm the first to say there were some great wins. Of course, we're 30% of the vote, 5 new seats, etc. Now that we're official party again, we've been able to create Liberal Caucus Services Bureau, which has given us so much more resources. We are a united team, not a band of 9 independents. But there were some misses. Clearly there's some, we need to invest more in the digital space, and we knew that. We had data problems, and we knew that. We didn't get our candidates nominated soon enough. We were targeting June 2026, of course. Platform, again, didn't come out soon enough. I think people took exception that we didn't include more. There wasn't that economic message, but it was deliberate. It was strategic because we knew that we had polled well, and the focus groups showed us that healthcare was our issue, as well as affordability on the housing front and tax cuts, etc., and education. And that education component, which is so vitally important, was kind of delayed as well. So we understood those issues ourselves, and in retrospect, we could have done things differently and pivoted, but that's all in retrospect. At the time, we're thinking, this is our message, this is our theme, this is what we're running on, we go.
Looking back is one thing, looking forward is another. You've got a big weekend ahead, a lot of different priorities, but you specifically are facing a leadership review. And so that question is going to be hanging over everything else.
Yeah.
So what do you do going into this weekend to make sure that you make your message heard?
Well, that's a great question. So this weekend is all about rebuilding, refocusing, and being ready for next time, and I'm very confident that we are going to win next time. For me, I've been traveling the province all summer. I've been meeting with Liberals and delegates and talking to them about the wins and the hits, the misses, and the future, that path forward. And that's the one thing about this postmortem report. It provides us with that roadmap, that path forward, so that we will ensure that we will win the next election. And a lot of it includes building up the unheld ridings, those PLAs, the provincial Liberal associations that have been faltering for years. And that is going to be our largest priority, as well as beefing up our comms.
I think the big question, obviously, is how do you do that as leader personally? How are you going to take the party down that road when essentially what we've heard from polls and what we've heard from people is that this is 50-50 going into the weekend for you?
Oh, I don't think so. I feel very, very confident about this weekend. And if you're going to ask me for a number, I'm not going to give you one, because there is no arbitrary number. I will know that I've gained the respect and the trust of the delegates and the party during the weekend, and when the result is read. We know what happened to John Tory. We know what happened to Joe Clark. I'll also share with you that David Peterson won 100 seats back in the day, and 1/4 of his party voted against him in the leadership review. So you will know when you have the trust and support of the party behind you. There's no arbitrary number. And then we know the Quebecois leader, Pauline Marois, got 93% in her leadership review, and then was removed by her caucus shortly months thereafter. So, we will know. I will know that I have the support and trust of the people, of the membership, or whether I don't.
Should this happen, obviously you have to take steps beyond this weekend. And so what are the first things, if you stay on as leader, that you need to do in the weeks and months ahead?
Yes, so it's back to work Monday morning. We have the plowing match on Tuesday. But really, it's implementing the recommendations from the report. That is the highest priority. So certainly that work that needs to be done to build up the unheld ridings, enhance our communication, build up our data and our digital presence. That's the kind of work we need to do. Last year we had a thinkers conference. We had some great speakers, but our party likes nothing more than to have a policy convention and put motions and resolutions on the floor of the House of a policy conference so that we can be debating them and adding them to our platform. The platform needs to come out sooner, and we need to start nominating our candidates sooner. So we have said that by starting January, those candidates who grew their popular support and have active PLAs will get a very easy early nomination. And then we will be on schedule to nominate all of them, all 124, or unless the ridings are realigned with the federal ridings, there'll be a few more of them to nominate.
At this point, the Premier and the Conservatives seem as though they're untouchable. Very difficult job for you ahead in order to resonate and break through that. How do you think you're able to do that knowing where you are right now?
No, there will be lots of opportunities. I think there was a climate of uncertainty because of the economic anxiety that people are feeling, that jobs are leaving this province. People feel their jobs are threatened. We have, a new president in the United States who's waging a trade war against us and tariffs. So I understand there was a lot of angst and anxiety. But I think that's starting to shift now that Mark Carney is our Prime Minister, and we have a really dedicated and very capable team negotiating on our behalf in Washington. And I think we see that our economy is resilient and that people will go back to focusing on their own needs. The fact that they can't afford a home, that they don't have access to a family doctor, that our classrooms are overcrowded, and our schools are crumbling, and that they were promised tax breaks that never materialized. They'll start thinking about the woes of our own economy. The fact that we have the second highest unemployment rate here and the single highest youth unemployment rate. Our young people don't have hope and don't have opportunity, and that is something that we need to focus on. And if there's one person to blame, Doug Ford should look in the mirror and he'll see that guy.
Thanks for this.